Joseph Ross.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm Joseph Ross. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of the Southwest Cyber Resilience Centre. We are a police-led initiative, so an organisation that supports small and medium enterprises with their own cyber resilience, teaching small businesses to take responsibility for cyber. Now, you may be wondering why me, as a member of the police, working with small businesses, is here today talking to CISOs of much larger companies than would be considered for an SME. We always are looking for support from other organisations. We have a national ambassador scheme which enables large organisations to work with us to look back at your supply chains and get your supply chain of SMEs to be protected under the Cyber Resilience Centre network. And when I say protected, obviously we're not a silver bullet, but we take people that aren't considering cyber at all and take them on that journey to start taking it seriously. That's my little bit that I have to do to be able to get my mileage up here. So Shadow AI is a piece of work I've been exploring for the past few months, and it's all around unauthorized use of technology. So Shadow IT is a phrase that's been used quite a lot. Unauthorized use of technology. An example might be you as an organization use Microsoft 365. However, someone that works with clients decides that they want to use Dropbox because it's easier for their little bit of work, completely unauthorized. We're then sharing corporate data with a different entity that's not being recorded by the organization. Scaling that up a little bit, we have other weird and wonderful software that no one's heard of before instead of Dropbox, and we don't know who's holding that data. As an organization, that is a risk. Today, we have AI technologies being released every single day. New technologies that we find really, really helpful for us to do our jobs. We don't want to stifle that innovation. We want people to be using new technology and find new ways to do their jobs. However, if we don't know the origin of those AI sources and if it's not approved by the organization, what we find is data management goes completely out the window. When we're using AI, we are putting contracts through, we're putting emails through, secure, confidential information. We're pumping all of that into AI because that's how we get the best outcome. If you anonymize everything before you use AI, then the outputs you get from that won't be as useful and won't be as helpful to what we're trying to achieve. So we naturally have to be putting in that data. If we have a culture of innovation where people get their bonuses, people get promotions based on performance, which happens in the corporate world, people are incentivized to find the best tools to help them do their jobs more efficiently. And this is a huge gap for Shadow AI. If they're finding technology, utilizing technology that's not approved, we don't know where that data is going. Now, an example of how this could be taken a step further, more maliciously, a hostile actor could repackage a tool similar to DeepSeek, and they could have an AI chatbot which is really well engineered, really well designed for your specific task. Now, with a little bit of social engineering and spear phishing, we could target your marketing team or your legal team to say, in your industry, with your specific experiences in mind, we can design a tool and develop a tool that is perfect for you. And unlike standard AI tools, which are designed to be used by as many people as possible because they're all businesses, they want lots of people to buy them, this could be targeted just for that one individual. And then you could be given a free trial. And that tool, if you then use that tool, you've got a culture of innovation, you're trying to use as many new technologies as possible. You then use that tool, you pump your data into that tool, and you get really, really good results. You might then start paying for it. But on the other end, you have that hostile actor siphoning out all of the data you're putting in. If it's not baked into that company culture that we have due diligence over the tools we're using, that could happen time and time again with all of your sensitive information. And that would be data breaches and data breaches and data breaches, lots of conversations with the ICO, lots of fines to pay, and lots of reputational damage if it's found out. What I've proposed in the paper I've written is a scale of monitoring how we use AI. We don't want to tell people not to use it because that will stifle innovation. But there needs to be a point at which there's an acceptable amount of information we can put into certain tools. So at the very basic level, if you're trying to take out a new tool and it's not been approved at all, you shouldn't be able to put any data in there at all. not your own name, not anything to do with the company, but you should be able to have a secure environment in which you can use this tool, play around with it and see what its capabilities are, see if it's worth exploring further. We've got different levels of interaction with AI. So we've got covert and overt or transparent interactions. So the overt interactions would be, for example, your marketing team, they all use ChatGPT to help with, let's say you write your own copy and use ChatGPT to review it, see how well this is going to hit its target market. Now, if that's it might not be approved, but if that's a well-known thing, everyone talks about how they use ChatGPT for this one purpose, that's an overt use case. Everyone knows about it. We can therefore assess where that data is going because it's known, even if it's not approved. We then have high and low impact. So a high impact would be anything that's taking in confidential information, contracts, legal papers, anything like that, personal data. And then low impact might be the more marketing side, the things we're going to publish anyway into the public domain. If you're building, that creates a quadrant of overt, covert, high impact and low impact. If you're operating in the covert and high impact, that might be your CEO massively overworked, massively busy. So they've decided to take out a new plan with a new AI tool that they haven't told anyone about because they want to appear that they're doing everything themselves all on their own. But they're using this tool and they're putting every single email through it. They're putting every single bit of paper that crosses their desk through this tool, and then it's doing a bit of insight in the background to help them do their job. That's really high impact, and that's covert because they're not telling anyone about it. That's what we want to try and stop. That's the main thing we're trying to stop. We want a company culture of declaring what technologies we're using or what we want to use, having a process of due diligence to understand how those technologies are developed, who's developing them, what's happening with the data, where is that data pipeline, and then taking that forward into the approval process to allow people to put the right data into the right places so that we're acknowledging it. I had a really good podcast earlier with Harmonic. I hadn't heard of them before, but we had a great conversation on Shadow AI, and they're doing something to be able to map that technology. So that was a really good fortuitous meeting this morning. So that's the essence of my talk on Shadow AI. Hopefully we're going to get some people start thinking about how your organizations are using AI, what your culture is around how people interact with new technologies, how they adopt new technologies and move forward with that. But I'd welcome any questions that you have on Shadow AI, my paper, Cyber Resilience Centre, National Ambassador Scheme. So if anyone's got anything for here right now on the camera, you're welcome to shout out. If not, I'm happy to have a conversation shortly.